Alright guys, I did only have one more video planned for the day, and that was going to be a review of a knife I recently bought. But before we get into that, I noticed this sitting in my range bag, and I thought I'd bring it up real quick as partially as a helpful tip and partially because it annoyed the daylights out of me when I discovered this little issue. This is Hornady Critical Defense 357 Magnum Ammunition. Not sure how well I have that in frame. Here we go. 357 mag, 125 grain FTX bullets. These are one of the newest things on the market as far as defensive ammunition goes. They have extremely rapid and full expansion. They expand very reliably. I haven't been able to shoot a lot of them. As you can see, there's only 11 rounds missing. These 4 have been fired. This one was fired as well, but the cartridge was lost. These 6 were also lost. These 6 were fired from a full-size Smith & Wesson model. Which model was it? 46, I think it is. I can't remember off the top of my head. Anyways, a full-size Smith & Wesson 357 pistol. These 5 here were fired from a Taurus compact pistol, a snub-nose 357 revolver. And I had some issues. Actually, only 4 were fired from that Taurus. Excuse me. This one was also fired from that Smith & Wesson revolver, and I specifically saved it for the purpose of this demonstration. Now, from what I understand, these are extremely powerful cartridges. They are loaded with a much larger charge of powder to fire at extremely high velocities with in order to attain a lot better expansion and knockdown power. I don't pretend to be an expert on firearms or ammunition or ballistics in any way. But one thing that surprised the daylights out of me, when I put these rounds in my wife's Taurus 357 revolver, I did what anyone else would have done. I pointed it downrange, got a good sight picture, squeezed the trigger, gun goes off, everything's fine and dandy. I go to squeeze the trigger again and nothing happens. The trigger won't even move. Well, this confuses the daylights out of me because I have never once in my life had a revolver lock up on me. The first thing that goes through my mind, to be completely honest with you, is what in the hell? So I go to open the cylinder, and the cylinder is literally stuck. It cannot be opened. I had to go inside to my bench, grab a nylon mallet, and tap open the cylinder with that. When I popped it open, I don't know how well you'll be able to see it here, but when I popped it open, I discovered this. Hold on a moment. There we go, that's a little better. Now, as you can see, right there in the primer, there's the little indentation that normally comes from the firing pin. Around that little indentation, you can see a raised lip of metal. I don't know how many of you guys might know what that is to begin with, so I'll just go ahead and tell you that's called cratering. Now, a lot of things can cause cratering, but what I've discovered is that Taurus's firing pin holes are actually not in the same spec as most other 357 revolver pistols or revolvers firing pin holes are. So what was happening was the extremely high pressures from these cartridges was causing the primer to flow back into the firing pin hole, wrapping around the firing pin, holding it in place and completely locking up the action. And as you can see, it did it multiple times. This one is even worse than the previous. And to give you a little comparison, this one here on the right was the one fired from a Smith & Wesson revolver. You can see the difference. Nice solid indentation from the firing pin, nice and smooth surface, while on the other side you got this shallow indentation with this gigantic crater lip around the primer pocket. That is not good. So that has made me decide that I personally will not be buying any more Hornady Critical Defense, simply because the only .357 Magnum revolver I own is that Taurus. The Smith & Wesson I fired it from was actually someone else's. So I will eventually find a way to fire off all this ammunition. I may eventually get a Smith & Wesson revolver capable of firing it of my own. But for me, this ammunition is completely unusable, and I figured, just in case any of you guys out there were considering purchasing some Hornady Critical Defense ammunition for your Taurus .357 pocket pistol, you might want to reconsider, or at least be prepared to accept the fact that if it doesn't fire well, you will have wasted about $27 on ammunition, because these little buggers are not cheap. Of course, I always buy high-end defensive ammo for my carry pistols because I think it's worth it to spend the extra money on something I'm going to be betting my life on. But I thought you guys might want to know, just in case, you might want to consider buying another type of defensive ammo and saving your money. What I went ahead and did with my wife's pistol is I went ahead and loaded hers with what I carry in my .38 Special, and that is a Speer Gold Dot. I believe these are 115 grain. I can't remember off the top of my head. I don't have the box with me, but these are Speer Gold Dot .38 Specials. As you can see, nice, big, wide, hollow point cavity there. These have plenty of knockdown power. They have an extremely high success ratio as far as one-shot stops on attackers. So I'm perfectly happy with putting that in my wife's gun for right now. But I thought you guys might want to know that little tidbit, so I decided to go ahead and share it. I hope you guys have a great day, and enjoy.